Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anneke. I'm the pedagogical expert from i3 Connect, and today I will tell you kind of story. This is not a training. If you are in this webinar to see how you can use this in a technical way, bye. No, this is really kind of a story. How we can actually go on into classrooms and not like this is a hard technology, but this is like an extra, something that every teacher should be so happy for to have this in the classroom. That's the most important thing that I will show you today. That's why I say this is a little story. So my background is I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator. I was a teacher for 25 years or even a bit more in primary schools, but during the years I did actually from kids from 3 years old till 21. So I went into every layer of education as a teacher. So that's how I deal with it. Every time there is something new in the company, I feel it with my heart as a teacher and not as a product, which is something for a classroom. So, and that's where this story comes from. Very important is, of course, that everything should be intuitive. It should be something where teachers are looking for and not bumping against to. So that means that it's just something that can help them on the way. And that's the most lovely thing that we will see today. So again, this is not a training, but this is like a short story, let's say about that. So, of course, there is the how should I pronounce it? The misunderstanding that technology is when you have technology, there is better education, but actually that's not what it means. It can help the education. That means you as a teacher or as a salesperson to bring it into the market. It can bring the visualization better. It can help you to show things in a bigger way, as in my days, like when the animals were still talking, I need to show my kids everything, like you need to put your name over here, then we go to that alinea and things like that. Now everything is so easy because you can show it on the screen, and that's how teacher should embrace it, actually, to see what this can help to make their lessons, make their days better in the life. So i3 Connect is not just a company who actually fabrics interactive displays. We talk with teachers, with educators. So that means that we listen to the feedback, and that feedback we bring to our hearts, actually, and then we go into together and see how we can develop the most precious thing or the best thing that they can use in the classroom. So that's how this story actually has the little seeds to make this a bit alive. So it means, of course, that when we talk about teachers who have kind of a digital screen in the classroom, what are their frustrations? And maybe that's a good thing. If you have frustrations during this webinar, there is a chat box. You can add them there. But if you have some good thoughts, please add them as well. That's just something in between. But of course, let's talk about the frustrations from the teachers. Teachers are a bit scared sometimes of these technology, but let's embrace it. As I said before, this technology will help them. But they think about, I need to create an account, I need to log in, I need to connect, I need to switch it on. All these things, which normally for them is like, I take a book and I teach. Now, let's see that this weird thing behind me is as easy as that book. So it should be like that. We make like look at this, an intuitive interactive interface. There are some application, and it is something that they know because it is similar like your desktop from your laptop. So why should this be not normal and your desktop is normal? And that's the way you should see it, through another glass actually. But look, at the side, there is a menu where you can switch to different things, where you can switch, for example, to a Google store, a drive where you can add your documents in. You can open them and you can start. Or you can go to the Google Play Store, which you can open and where you can find a lot of applications and you can download it and right away add it to your screen. So intuitive. Okay, you need to log in once, but then after that, everything is very easy. Left side or right side, it should be just the same, and you can go easily back to your home screen. But okay, all these things are super nice. And some of the people will really love to use it and they know they have it like a bit in their fingers. But sometimes the only thing teachers or you as a teacher want is, look, this, my laptop. How can it be the easiest way that I bring everything what I prepared at home easily on the screen? Look, you had a question? I have an answer for you. USB-C cable. You insert the USB-C cable in your laptop as well. You insert it in the screen, and without doing anything, look, my screen will be, or my laptop's screen will be right away on my interactive board. The good thing is I don't need to add some things over here now. I'm directly in contact with my class, and what I can do is I can easily open, for example, a PowerPoint, because that's what teachers use a lot. I open my PowerPoint all on my screen, and I'm in directly contact with my students. I can ask something, I can talk to them, I can answer questions, and in that same moment, I'm actually just opening my PowerPoint. I go slide by slide to my different slides, and what I do at most is I can even go back just to slide like this. And what I like most is I can use my pen, easily the pen off my touchscreen, and I can add some notes. I can go over different things. And the nice thing is when I go to a different page, look, I can just go on and on and on, and my notation is in my previous slide. So that's the good thing. As well, I can go back to my home screen just in one or maybe two clicks, but that's the easy way. If I want to go back to my laptop, again, I go to the site, I go to my sources, I use my my type C, which is the one who is connected, and that's actually a big, the color is different, so you can tap on it and you can go back. So this is how you can switch easy from one device to another device. So technology isn't that hard at all. But of course, let's go back to where we started, the intuitivity in the screen, because this is not the screen in as a tool is not our goal, but how to use it. And we use the screen to come to our goal. So that's the nice thing. Teachers want to start fast. They want to go on. They want to organize some things. It needs to be intuitive. That is something that we said as well. They want to be flexible as well, but when we switch from laptop to the touchscreen, That's easy as well. So now you can see that, for example, a whiteboard, that's something that we heard a lot. A whiteboard is something that teachers want to use, of course, because they are used to. They are used to because in the past they have the chalkboards or the normal whiteboards where you can write on with a non-permanent white marker. But this is a bit the same, but digital. And because it's digital, I heard sometimes that when there is a wire on it, they are afraid. But look, this is just the same. Let me take the pen again. I take the pen, I can just write something on my screen, and look, there it is. Easy. I can go to, this is what you can do on a normal whiteboard or chalkboard. But then when we go to the arrow, we just make this interactive, or interactive as in we can go from one side to another, we can move it around, we can duplicate it easy, so we have two kind of these words, things like that. And this makes teaching fun, as we say. We can also ask students to come up front and to do to take part of it. And there are some nice extra things where I can make this, how we call it, the interaction super nice for kids. For example, if a teacher has two kids in front of the classroom, now they can work both with their own color, like for example, one of them can write in green, the other one will write in red. At the same time, they can write their exercise, they can do and write and maybe choose another color, a shape or something at the same time, which is super nice. And in the end, the teacher can actually go back to the normal size of the screen and they can do some feedback, they can give some feedback and they can work around. Super nice things and actually easy. These are the things that teachers really love to do in the classroom just by, oh yeah, I want to have two screens. Let's just split it and easy for my students to interact with it. So that's also nice. Let's go back to the home screen. I will switch from one to another to make you, actually to show you how easy it is. One of the things which is super nice is, of course, to open a browser. And a browser is just the same as what it is. You can tap on it. Once you tap, you will see your keyboard is there. I will just go to our website. And then you will see, you tap on it and everything what you do up front is just here. You can swipe down, you can choose everything. Super nice, but sometimes you need an extra. And an extra can be, for example, an annotation. And an annotation is as well something to make something more visible, to visualize something. This is for education, learning, click, and things like that. So you as a teacher, you can add extras, you can do all these stuff. But again, look what we can do. There is a way that we can make a screenshot, make a photo of it. We can just adapt it a bit with or without our notes, and we can easily send it to the whiteboard. Once it's sent to the whiteboard, we can go and look, it is here immediately, and we can actually add some extras. We can write down and we can just do it in the whiteboard. As an extra, you can see on top, there is a way to export it and we can share it with our students. That means I go to generate QR code. The code is coming. The only thing you need is your phone. Just scan the code, and what you will see just by scanning and clicking on the link is actually everything what is over here in my different pages is coming to you on your own device. If you don't use it with your device, you are also able to share it or export it by mail for all the people who are not in the room, of all the students who are not in the room. But this is an easy way as well, just to share what you have written on your screen. So again, technology from this moment is not against me, it helps me. So that's again super nice. Let's go back to one of the applications over here. So this is what you see, some of the applications. Another one is the Present app. Present means that you can easily share what is on your phone over there. That means I go to my with my Apple device, I can easily go to, again, over here, and then it will take, I need a code, 5876, just from my phone, and then you will see that, okay, that my phone is up there. Means that we can actually go to, for example, the forecast, the weather forecast, to see how warm it is downstairs. And you can see over here, I'm not able to touch. When I do it over here on my phone, I am able to do. But again, what can you do as an extra? We can take the annotate function again, and I take my pen and I can see at this moment how warm it is. Easy ways just to visualize something, to connect and interact your students, because this is something that I'm doing right now, but of course I'm able, or you are able, to do this with six students together at the same time, and they can all send with or without your choice, or actually the mode that, yes, you are able to send it to me, and you can see the different screens up here. Again, I don't know why everybody is telling me that technology is working against us. I close this, I close my annotations, I go again back to my home screen, and here we are. Let's see. Sometimes we've seen the whiteboard, we've seen the browser, we've seen the present function, easy things, of course, to go along, but sometimes you need some extra. And for that, we have some online software stuff. Online software stuff, as in, for example, Ginzi, who helps us to create interactive lessons. They have like a whole bunch of interactive tools already integrated, which is easy for a teacher. They do not have to prepare it up front. They can if they want and then save it in the cloud. But it's not necessarily. They can also choose to have, for example, a voice level on the screen. And that means that you can just adapt how loud kids can talk, how loud kids can interact in your classroom. Could be an easy one to have in the classroom, of course, I know. But you see, these are easy tools which you can just, they can pop up, you can even pin them if you want, you can cut them, you can move them around, exercises, a bit games, all these things, and that brings me to another chapter that I want to talk to you about in my story, and that's about active learning. All these things, all these applications, or how should I say it, all the different ways where you want to interact with your students and make your students part of it is for me and for a lot of educators, active learning. Active learning is not always about moving and doing workouts. It can also be active for your brains. Means that I ask you to think about it. I ask you to interact, to come up front and to do this exercise. This is also active learning. Everything what is not like just sitting and writing, listening and writing. All the other stuff is active learning. Also, ask kids to look up something, ask them to create an exercise. All these things is active learning. But we can go, of course, a bit further than only the cognitive things that belong to active learning. And let's go again to my laptop, which is still connected, because that's the easy way to go from one thing to another. And then we can talk about my way of active learning in the company. That means that we actually developed these cubes, motion cubes, that make this is actually just like a chair, because kids can sit on it and they can move around, or you can go into flexible learning environments, but they can also choose to sit on which side. And if they sit on, for example, the yellow side, then they can wiggle. All things where we talk about movement again. With these cubes, you can interact in the classroom when kids are sitting on it, or you are working on a playground or something, and you ask some exercises. For example, if it's answer yes, you put the cube on top. If it's the answer no, you just put it on the ground and you can sit on it. Kids are moving, they are thinking and they are moving. We can create and we can build arches and a lot of other building, with building cards, can do exercises. All these things um, are together an active way of learning. But of course, when we talk about active learning, we also talk about, and that's the part of what we are doing, of course, we also talk about and let me show you a little moving while I'll talk about all these stuff. We talk about the digital. We are a digital company. So that means that besides the active tool, there is also a small digital MDM. It's a small digital box which you can insert, and then you can do a lot of exercises. Here are we talking about all the building exercises and all the things that make the kids interact with the class and all the other stuff. But when we go to the digital part, they can just move around the cube, shake the cube to make words, drop them in a line on top and things like that, which is super nice. Look, this is what's happening over here. They shake, they create words. And the nice thing is they were active before this as well, because they created the exercises by themselves. And now they play the game all together. So it's not only a social thing, it is a very cognitive thing. They learn a lot. It's movement, it's all the stuff together. But let's go back to our interface again. I showed you all of these stuff, and while going from one side to the other to show you that it is very easy to go from a whiteboard to a present function, or to go to your PowerPoint, you can write in it. All these things together, well, actually, they show us that technology is not against us. And for those who are in this webinar, in my story, and who are more technical, there is also an extra thing where all these technical boards, you can also manage them very easy. So also for their people, there is something super nice which you can do. So everything is completed in our story, not only for the teachers, but also for those people who need to manage everything. So I think if we go back to where we all started, the teaching beyond technology, I think I can prove it. And I proved it a bit by just talking to you as an educator, which is connected to a company, of course, but I talk, and that's what I do mostly. If there is something new in the development, then I always look at it not only by my eyes, but also by my heart. How would it feel for a teacher to have this in the classroom? Would this help teachers to educate? Because that's the most important thing what we need to do with the teachers. We need to give them some tools to help them, and they need to show, we need to show, and they need to see that the technology is not against them, but it helps them to make their life as a teacher much better. Let me see if there's some chats. Are there some people who have some questions, some remarks or something? If not, I hope it is super nice that everybody is technical questions. Um, Do we want to support Android 16? Yes, we do. So, but all these technical stuff, and maybe that's good for you to show you as well, that if you want, this wasn't a technical training, and this was something very important for me to show you what it's, that it's so super nice to show all these things. But of course, if you want some technical things, then there is a way. We also have an academy. That means that if you think that this was not good enough for you, or you want to have more because you thought it was a training, then we have our academy. You can find it on the website. And on the academy, you can find either technical or software training, but also some tips and tricks and things like that. So that could be something which is an extra on this webinar, but of course, then you can follow it by your own pace on the website. So, okay, that's it for me. I hope I will see you next time, because we will try to do this more than once, just to inform you and how you can actually, make the teachers their life a bit better with this information. So thank you for now, and hope to see you next time.